Good morning, viewers. Today is the 3rd of March 2026. Should probably have done this video a few days ago, but I've only just yet got my result of my PSA. And that's going to make for a good video. But for those who don't want to see the whole thing, then I can tell that the PSA went up again significantly. Although AI does not disagree with me, it says it's just within the normal span, which I could say technically is correct. I have now been at 5 months with a PSA below 100, trending downwards. It was 95.7 the previous time, but this time it jumped to 107.4. So that's not good. And I have to be honest, yesterday when I got the message, I got knocked off my feet a bit there. But the story is a little bit more nuanced than that, because I had the blood drawn on Saturday and I got the result of the rest of them. That was a CBC, AST, ALT, and bilirubin. Those are the numbers that I'm interested in every month now. And I got those numbers on Saturday already, but the PSA test is not something they do in-house, so I had to wait a day or two for that. And yesterday at about 4 p.m. I got the result, but it made me, and that's a funny thing, it didn't make me happy, it made me annoyed. And it should probably have made me happy, but it was just unlogical. So I just couldn't be a happy reaction, because they gave me a PSA number saying 0.83, which is a fucking disastrous feedback to get, really. But we're talking about a guy being told you're cured. Now, I have been let down the trail of thinking that I can cure myself, and I suppose I'm still staying hopeful that it could be. But that I should have had a PSA going from 95.7 to 0.83 in 1 month, though I did start consistently using mebendazole, and I have also been consistent in ketosis, doing almost zero carb dieting. Then that will just be too much. But obviously, and once I got to absorb it and I told the clinic to change that, or at least to verify it, then it was like, oh wow, could you imagine if that happened? But yeah, eventually 2 hours later, when she called me back, the number was not even remotely good. It was bad, 107. So it was going from unbelievable good, literally unbelievable, until something that is quite terrible, because now I can't brag about having my numbers below 100 consistently. But as I was sitting yesterday and I was looking at the numbers, I also consulted a little bit with the AI to see if there could be a logical reason beyond cancer progression that it was there. And first off, AI gave the feedback that there was no reason to concern, because over the course of the last 2.5 years, the numbers are still within the span of what it usually is, and it has not been jumping more than it has been jumping when it has been jumping. And that's true. So that calmed me a little bit to get that extra perspective on things. But when I was having my blood drawn by the clinician at the clinic, she made a comment as she was pulling the blood that I was dehydrated, probably because the blood was very thick or very dark compared to what it was supposed to be if it has been oxygenated or diluted, probably with proper hydration. I don't know how she measured that, but she made note of that, and I realized that because I'm trying to avoid going to the loo too often in the nighttime, then I do a water fasting from 6 p.m. and until the next morning when I get my morning coffee, which, by the way, is the wrong way to do it too, because the first thing I get after a 12-hour water fasting is coffee. It should be water. So anyway, I went in there to the clinic, and that was about 9 a.m. that I had the test done. So we're talking, apart from a cup of coffee, which is just dehydrating me further, then I went 15 hours on a water fast before I had the blood drawn. So I was dehydrated. I rarely feel thirsty, but I was thirsty at the time that I had the blood drawn. And that contributes to some numbers that might be skewed a little bit in the wrong direction. So the 107 could be explained by that, but the 107 can also be explained by the fact that I was doing sardine fasting, something I started to enjoy a little bit more, especially when I realized that I can prepare my sardines, and if I spice them up and I oven bake them, then I can get more like a texture like shawarma, and it tastes more or less like shawarma, which I really like. A lot of bird being in here in the conversation. Anyway, it also made me realize when I was doing this little inquiry that by heating my sardines, I'm actually killing off the properties of the omega-3, and that in turn could contribute to less beneficial effect on my PSA levels. So while it does look like it does boost the half time, doubling time on the PSA, meaning it makes it better, it takes longer for things to progress to be on a sardine fasting, then by preparing my sardines, I have a detrimental effect to it. So that was another way that it could have been done wrong. And then the fasting itself seems to have an impact. And this is the first time that I've actually gone for a testing directly at the final leg of a fasting. I haven't broken the fasting yet. So that could also be the reason why it's been jumping. So there are several good reasons really why the number is there, but the number is there, and the only way I could erase it if I wanted it to, and if I had the money to do it, was to correct my hydration for the next week, and then just go do another test and see if I can bring it below 100 doing that. But it's a bit of waste of money, and I don't have the money, so it has to wait until the end of next month, and I've just got to prove that I can improve the numbers by doing what I do and by doing it right by the time of the testing. There's so many details here. As far as the other blood numbers goes, the complete blood count, the AST, the ALT, and the bilirubin, then the numbers were tested because I had a fairly elevated number by the end of January. My liver numbers, AST and ALT numbers, were through the roof. Not something that the AI said was a cause for concern, because the number is supposed to be at below 0.5, I think it is, for both of them, and they were at 0.21 on a regular basis, but now they were at 0.93 and 0.72 or something like that when in the end of January, which was 4 or 5 times the amount that normally were, but not even double what it's supposed to be within the safe range. But I don't look too much at the safe range. I look more in what is the trajectory, what is the tendency, what is the change. And the change was like 4 or 5-fold. So I stopped mebendazole, thinking that was the one that had the impact, and I think I made a video about that as well. And when we got to the middle of February, I had another AST-ALT test, and it came back and normalized. It was slightly more than 0.2, but like very little bit above. So we were very, very low, below the safe range, and we were very close to the normal range. So when I got that result in the middle of February, I started out my mebendazole again, but did it with pulsating, doing 400 milligrams 4 times a day and 3 days off. AI actually suggested that I did 3 days on and 4 days off, but I wanted to push the envelope a little bit because I really want the effect of it. And the blood test here at the end of February came back sweet, no problem whatsoever, normalized still. So that's the way to continue that. My bilirubin number were elevated. I didn't do that test in the middle of February, but I did that now, and I will do that every month. But they were not critically elevated. I think it's supposed to be below 0.8, and one of them was 1.2. It has been at 3.4 at a point, so the 1.2 is not much. But as I've said, my hydration level was not really where it's supposed to be, so that could see things elevated a bit. I do seem to be in the lower end of my red blood count, red blood cell count, which means I have to focus a little bit on how I can do to elevate that. And one of the reasons why it might have dropped out of the sky like it has is the fact that I have dropped red meat, because it seems to be detrimental. I mean, we're talking cow meat here, to my prostate inflammation levels. But now I've got to introduce it to be 1, tops 2 times a week. I will get a little bit. We're talking 250 grams. That's my plan anyway. And then I have, just by the help of a friend who has lent me some money, been able to order some supplements that I also need, vitamin B12. So I'll be doing that twice a week as well. It was 2,500 micrograms of B12, I think it was. which is going to probably help me stabilize the red blood cell levels. The red blood cell levels is so extremely important. I never paid much attention to it. I know that the red blood cells are the one responsible for transporting oxygen to your muscles. And the last 3-4 months, I've been very fatigued. I've been very heavy in my legs, and I don't really seem to be able to get things going. I often thought that was just a mental thing, that I'm not mentally where I'm supposed to be because I'm struggling too much with finances and getting work and all that. But looking into it, then it seems to be very logical that the red blood cell count could be the issue, because the lower the count, the less ability to transport oxygen to your muscles, and obviously the performance is lower. So that's one thing, and by lowering your performance, you're also actually lowering your heart rate variability, which could also be the reason why I've since September seen it dropping out of the sky. So it's all interconnected, and that's something that I got to see if I can correct now. Really got to do that. Other than that, yes, I think life is going quite nice. Work is absolutely a disaster right now. I made total $100 last month. Total, the whole month, $100. And I can see the platform where I'm used to work, and I get my majority of my work is from Upwork, but some reason that platform has just become trash. I've sent about 10 applications and I got 0 response of any, and I start seeing a lot of people making comments that it actually feels like a lot of these people looking for employees, that they are AI produced just to create some sort of action in there. And all the things that you got to do in order to get a job, you got to pay for it now. You don't get free connects unless you apply, but you don't apply unless you pay. And to get connects, you also have to pay, and you have to pay for a badge to show that you're available. And given the fact that you can make 10 applications and you don't get a response, it's just not worth it anymore. So work is really, in so many senses, killing me right now. Really is making life hard. Trying to see if I can find some other solutions for it. I've always been of the attitude that if you are having respect for all kinds of work and you're not feeling too high soul to do hard labor, there will always be things to do. But I'm living in Thailand and don't have a work permit, so my premises of doing things like that is different, which means I might have to look to other countries to go do some work. Countries where I'm allowed to work without having a work permit. But that is a totally different topic. Urine flow, still low. Getting lower, actually, as I think it is. But I've concluded, and I've been, AI is agreeing with me on 80% that it's not prostate related. It is urethra related. It is something called, it's called something I can't remember anymore, but it is urethra related in the part past the prostate. It is not bladder related. It's not prostate related. But for me to get answers to that, I need to get it examined, and again, it costs money. And that, again, I don't want to sit here and be a beggar or anything like that, but if you are having a bit of spare money, then feel free to go to my Ko-fi account. I'll be putting a link down in the description for it, and donate a little bit. It will help a lot. This is not just to help me, really. I'm sharing this because I believe that it could be a help for a lot of other people that might find it helpful to know that there are ways to do things if you do not destroy your immune system first by official treatments. It's very important to notice that the things I'm doing is not something that can be copied in either ways and then expect the same outcome. But definitely not if you have done if you initially got down the trail of doing official treatments, be that chemotherapy, radiation, or ADT, if we're talking prostate cancer. Because once you've done that, you have already compromised your immune system. You have killed off B cells, T cells, natural killer cells, and you have probably gone into the realm of being anemic, meaning you have got very low level of red blood cells, and you will have a lot less lymphocytes, a lot less white blood cell counts, and all that is just making it so much harder for the body to combat things. So doing what I do, if you've already been down that trail, is difficult. So my videos and my info is to encourage people to do their research very thoroughly before this adventure on their health path, the treatment path. Because while I can do whatever anybody has done in the official treatment, at any time I want, then people who has already chosen that treatment cannot just do what I do, because they are at a so much different place. So donations to my channel and to my journey is helping me maintaining a documentation of what is needed and what can be done if people are conscious about their choices when they start the journey. With all that said, all I can wish is for you to stay happy and healthy. Until next time.